Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting our hands dirty, archaeologically speaking. We're going straight into the Scythian burial mounds, the kurgans.
That's right. Specifically the ones in the Lower Dnieper region, looking at their prestige objects from, what, the 7th down to the 4th centuries BCE?
Exactly. A good 300-year slice of time.
Yeah, and our goal isn't just, looking at the shiny gold, though there's plenty of that.
Right. It's more than treasure hunting.
Much more. It's about using the art, the images they put on everything, their ornaments, weapons, fancy gear.
What they chose to show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Try and reconstruct their world, their society, their politics, even their changing beliefs. It's like cultural engineering in reverse.
Okay, before we dive too deep, let's pin down who we're talking about. Scythian can mean different things, can't it?
It really can. So historically, the narrow definition is the group the ancient Greeks knew. They lived in the northern Black Sea steppes, basically between the Danube and the Don rivers.
Got it. That's the core group.
That's the core group. But, archaeologists sometimes talk broader about the Scytho-Siberian circle or Psychoid cultures. That's a much bigger phenomenon.
Stretching way out across the steppes.
Yeah, all the way to southern Siberia, even western Mongolia. Huge area. But for today, we're focusing right on that Black Sea heartland.
And that heartland group, they have some classic identifiers, right? The Scythian triad.
Ah, yes, the triad. It's the archaeological signature. Three things. First, their specific weaponry. Think recurved bows, arrows, and that short sword, the aconakis.
Okay, weapons, number one.
Second, their horse harness. Really distinctive elements. Makes sense. They were master horsemen.
Essential for nomads. And the third.
The third is the most visually striking. Their unique Scythian animal style art. Very zoomorphic.
And that animal stuff, that's where some early scholarship got a bit stuck, wasn't it? People like Rostovtsev.
Oh, absolutely. They were fascinated by the animal motifs. I mean, who wouldn't be? But they tended to push aside anything with human figures.
Why? What was the thinking there?
They often saw the human images, the anthropomorphic stuff, as secondary. Or worse, just foreign imports, usually Greek.
So not really Scythian in their eyes.
Exactly, not authentic. And that separation, well, it's a big problem. It meant they couldn't see the Scythian visual system as one whole coherent thing.
You miss the humans, you miss the stories.
You miss the mythology, the narratives, yeah.
Okay, so that sets up our deep dive perfectly. We're looking at sources that analyzed over 500 of these prestige items, putting the animals and the humans back together chronologically. Let's start at the beginning. Phase 1, Archaic Scythia. 7th to 6th centuries BCE. What does that early picture look like?
Well, it's the smallest batch of items, only about 8 published pieces. And honestly, it screams male warrior elite.
Really focused.
Very focused. The objects are almost all functional for war or travel. Weapons, horse gear fittings, and these big stone statues, stelae, showing nomadic warriors. Pretty stark.
And geographically scattered?
Yeah, dispersed monuments. Not concentrated yet.
What about the images on those items? What motifs stand out?
Simplicity and power, I'd say. You see the predator curled up in a ring, very common, very compact. The head of a predatory bird shows up too. But the really key one, the one that's only in this archaic period, is the griffin ram head.
Griffin ram head, what's that?
It's this cool hybrid. Imagine the head of a bird of prey, but it has the big curled horn of a ram.
Interesting combination.
Very specific. Seems like a really potent early symbol for them.
Yeah.
Defines that initial visual identity, perhaps. And you also get a simple vertical standing male figure sometimes.
Okay, so that's the baseline. Then things change. Phase 2, late 6th to the first half of the 5th century BCE. The sources suggest a big shift, maybe new nomads coming in from the east.
Yeah, the change is dramatic. This is the transition into what we call classical Scythia. The number of sites just explodes, quadruples.
Wow. And what about the types of objects? Still just weapons and horse gear?
Not at all.
Yeah.
That's the other huge shift. We start seeing completely new categories in the burials.
Yeah.
Things that aren't just utilitarian.
Like what?
Like tableware. Think fancy wooden cups covered in gold leaf. Ornaments become much more elaborate neck rings, fibulae, often with griffin heads, even like furniture pieces, ivory inlay caskets, parts of sarcophagi.
So status display is becoming much more important, more formalized.
Definitely. It's moving beyond just warrior prowess.
Well,
Wealth and comfort are entering the picture.
and the images must follow suit, right? Does the art diversify too?
Oh, massively.
Yeah.
They keep some of the old, powerful motives like the curled predator and the bird head and the standing male figure, but they add a whole zoo of new animals.
Oh, yeah.
Wild boar, hare, fish, even owls. It's like they're representing more their environment or maybe different mythical realms. And we also get complex hybrid creatures appearing regularly now. Griffins, sphinxes, sirens.
That's a big expansion. Now, you mentioned something really specific from this phase, almost disturbing, a particular scene.
Yes, it's quite unique. A plot appears. A spotted predator attacking the head of a human.
Okay, that's vivid. Doesn't sound like random decoration.
No, it really doesn't. It pops up suddenly in the material, and it feels very specific, like it's referencing a particular myth or ritual, something already understood by them.
A hint of narrative starting to emerge.
Exactly. It's an early sign that the art's moving beyond just symbols towards actual storytelling.
Which leads us perfectly into phase 3, the first half of the 4th century BCE. This seems to be the peak period. Huge volume of items, nearly 200.
Yeah, 193 items in the study. This is the time of really stable, peaceful interaction with the Greek cities on the coast. Lots of wealth flowing.
And the burials are concentrated now.
Very much so, especially on the left bank of the Dnieper River, near where the Kokoka Reservoir is now.
And you said narrative explodes here. How do we actually measure that? How do researchers talk about complexity?
Right, this is where we need a couple of terms. We're not just talking symbols anymore. Researchers break it down. A motive is simple, just one character, maybe doing something, maybe passive.
Okay, one figure.
Then a plot involves interaction. Two or more characters doing something together. An action scene, basically. Got it.
And the most complex is the fabula. That's like a whole sequence of plots. A narrative unfolding across time or space on an object.
Like a comic strip, almost.
Kind of. And the ratio tells you something. The sudden jump in plots, and especially fabulae in phase 3, shows the society is now really investing in complex stories, likely myths, to explain their world and their power.
And this is where the human figures, the ones early scholars ignored, really come to the fore, sourced from Greek contact.
Absolutely. That old idea that anthropomorphic images were just foreign clutter, it completely falls apart here. The sheer number and the way they use these figures proves it.
So who appears? What figures are they bringing in?
We see really fundamental figures appearing, possibly from their own mythology, like the snake-legged goddess and a goddess enthroned, but also clear Greek characters. Heracles, Satyrs, Pan.
Oh, so they're actively choosing and mixing.
Actively selecting and integrating Greek visual language into their own system. It's not passive acceptance, it's strategic adoption. Let's dig into one example, the Gorgonian, the Medusa mask. For the Greeks, you said it was apotropaic, meaning
it was meant to ward off evil, to protect, or to terrify an enemy. Purely defensive or aggressive magic, you could say.
And where would the Greeks typically put it?
On things needing protection or projecting terror? Shields, armor breastplates, sometimes on buildings to guard them. It's a symbol of fear and defense.
Okay. But the Scythians take this Greek image, Medusa's head, snakes and all, and where do they put it?
This is fascinating. They put it onto gold plaques, sewn onto clothing, and onto horse falarae, those decorative discs on harnesses.
So moving it from a Greek shield to a Scythian burial costume and horse decoration.
Exactly. That's the crucial insight. They're not just copying decoration. They're reinterpreting it. They've taken this terrifying Greek protection symbol and put it onto items of wealth, status, and display, especially for the funeral.
Why would they do that?
The thinking is they chose this specific motif because it resonated with something in their own mythology. It wasn't just a scary face. It had a local meaning for them. We'll circle back to exactly what that might be.
Okay, holding that thought, let's move into the final phase, phase 4, the second half of the 4th century BCE. Late Great Scythia, fewer burial sites overall, but the ones that exist are incredibly rich.
Hyper-concentrated wealth.
Yeah.
Yeah, 200 items from just 23 complexes. It suggests the elite is really consolidating power and displaying it intensely. Qualitative change, not just quantity.
And there's a major signal about who holds that status now, right? Something really telling.
Yes, this is maybe the most significant change socially. For the first time, these high-status prestige items, the ones with the complex images, start appearing in the graves of children.
Children, wow. Okay, what does that imply?
It's a massive indicator. Status is no longer just something you earn as a warrior and display as an adult. It's now clearly inherited. passed down.
Yeah.
Status is fixed from birth and shown off even in death as a child.
Inherited status, marked out in gold in a child's grave. That sends a powerful message.
A very powerful political message about lineage and hierarchy.
And we also see a shift in where the external influences are coming from in this phase. Less Greek Black Sea focus.
That's right. There's a noticeable pivot. We start seeing gold-stamped plaques that imitate coins of Philip II of Macedon.
Alexander the Great's father.
The very same. Now, some of these plaques look a bit rough, probably locally made Scythian copies, but the really high-quality ones, the analysis suggests they were imported from Thrace.
Thrace. Okay, so the Balkans.
Exactly. And this lines up with new styles of horse harness elements appearing that look distinctly Thracian. It looks like the Scythian elite are shifting their main political and trade connections away from the Bosporan Greek cities towards the Thracian Macedonian world. A big geopolitical reorientation.
Okay, let's tie all this art and politics back to the underlying beliefs. You mentioned the art, especially the complex fabulae, tell stories. Probably myths used to legitimize power?
That's the prevailing theory, yes. The art isn't just daily life. It's illustrating mythology or key ritual events. And the central story seems to be their genealogical legend.
Their origin myth.
Exactly. There are a few versions, Herodotus gives us some, but the core is usually a founder figure, Targetai or sometimes Heracles, who has 3 sons. He sets them a trial involving divine objects, a plow, a yoke, a cup, an axe.
And only the youngest son can handle them.
Right. The youngest succeeds, proving his divine right to rule, and the other 2 brothers become the ancestors of the other Scythian tribes. It's a classic foundation myth that explains the social order and justifies the king's power.
And we actually see this depicted.
It seems so. A famous example is the gold cup from the Guy Manoah grave. There's a scene on it showing an older, heroic figure talking to a younger man. Scholars often interpret this as the founder, Heracles or Targetai, explaining the trial to one of his sons.
They're literally wearing their political charter.
Pretty much. It's myth made visible, reinforcing the social structure.
Now, a key figure in some versions of that myth is the mother of the first Scythians, the snake-legged goddess.
Yes, she's central. And she's generally equated with the Scythian goddess Api.
And Api represents.
Api is powerful. She's linked to the earth, water, the underworld, the chthonic realm, thick fertility, primordial power. Her snake legs or snake attributes are key to that chthonic connection.
Okay, so Api is the snake-associated earth mother goddess, fundamental to their origin myth. Now connect that back to the Greek Gorgonian, the Medusa mask we talked about earlier.
Right, here's the synthesis. The Scythians see this powerful Greek image, the Gorgonian, which prominently features snakes around its head. And given the importance of their own snake-legged goddess, Api, linked to earth power and their very origins, it's highly likely they looked at Medusa and saw a reflection, or at least a potent parallel, to their own goddess.
So they weren't just borrowing a scary face.
No. They were adopting a foreign image because its key feature, the snakes, resonated deeply with their own foundational mythology. They reinterpreted the Greek gorgon as an emblem of their chthonic goddess, Api.
Making a Greek motif relevant to Scythian royal legitimacy.
Precisely. That's why it ends up on high-status burial items and horse trappings. It becomes a symbol asserting connection to the divine, to the earth, to their origin story, and thus to the right to rule.
That completely reframes the importance of those human and hybrid figures. The art, especially in phases 3 and 4, wasn't secondary at all. It was the main stage for political myth-making.
It really was. The whole journey we've traced, from phase 1's simple warrior motifs like the curled predator,
Right, basic strength symbols.
to phase 4's incredibly complex narratives, often using imported Greek or Thracian styles and placing status items in children's graves. It shows a massive evolution.
From projecting military might to projecting divinely sanctioned inherited social order.
Exactly. They move from local symbols of the warrior to using a globalized visual language, strategically adapted, to cement a much more complex social hierarchy and the king's divine authority.
It's a fascinating transformation. Which leaves us with a final thought, something for you, the listener, to consider. We see this shift from the raw warrior ethos that defined early Scythians towards this later elite focus on inherited status, complex myth-making, and manipulating foreign art. Did this sophisticated system of political legitimation ultimately make them stronger, or did focusing on inherited wealth and intricate symbolism perhaps dilute the very warrior identity that brought them to power in the first place? Something to think about when we look at how power represents itself.